Hi, Algebra 2. We are on Unit 3, polynomial functions. Yay, Unit 2 is done. This unit is 6 units long, or 6 lessons long. You will have a couple checkpoints in there, and I tried to show it in this time I tried to show it in the cover page so that you could see when the checkpoints were going to be. We have 4 standards that I'll be testing you on. And we're going to start with the first one today, which is I can interpret key features and perform operations on a function, including determining whether a function is even or odd. So this first part is not new to you. So today's lesson is actually not new at all. This standard will continue into tomorrow, and the even and odd piece will be new. Okay. So first thing is first, a function. What is it? You've heard this before. You've done the vertical line test. You've done all that stuff. But let's put some terminology to it. So a function is a rule that takes an input, typically an x, performs an operation or operations, and produces an output. Okay, so we have input, which is typically my x. We call it the domain. Remember that? And then we have an output, typically the y, and we call it the range. So I'm not really giving you big definitions into that, domain and range. That's really what it is. Domain is input, range is output. Okay? So there's also something else called function notation. So the notation for a function is called, now watch how I'm writing this, f of x, right? Or g of x, or h of x. Like we have a bunch of little nuances of like what we can change that to, right? So it could be f, could be g. But when you say something like f of x, it means the function in terms of x being the input. So that's not new to you either, because we did that in Algebra 1. So using function notation, we're going to talk about tables and graphs. We're going to do a couple different ones. So with tables, the function f of x and g of x are represented numerically in the table below. Use the table to evaluate the following. Okay, so if I have f of 1, this, remember, means when x is equal to 1. So I'm going to come here now. Look at this table. I've got, here's my input, and I've got 2 types of outputs. I got 2 functions, basically. I got a f of x function, and I have a g of x function. So my first problem here, they want me to look at the f function. So f of 1 means when x is equal to 1. So I come here when x is equal to 1. My result is -4, right? Okay. What about b? That's a little different. It's got a 3 in the front. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, okay, 3, we're going to leave the 3 for a minute. We're going to look at just that g of -1. And when they're attached like that, it just means multiplication. So you're going to leave the 3 there for a minute, and you're going to focus on the g of -1. So you're going to go to when x is -1, and you're going to go to the g function, which is 4. So it says, basically we're saying g of -1 equals 4, right? When x is equal to -1, y is equal to 4 in that g function. Put it in there. There's a 3 in front. Multiply it by the 3. Your result's going to be 12. Try C. 2 different functions. F of 0, evaluate it. G of -2, evaluate it. Add them together. Go. Go, go, go. you get that? Negative 1 plus 0? Sweet. All right, now we're looking at graphs. Next thing we're going to look at. Okay, we did the tables, now you're going to look at it in graphs. I'm going to do the first one, and you're going to do B and C, because you can handle this, all right? So when it says g of negative 2, it just means when x is equal to negative 2. So again, I've got two different functions. I've got g of x here, which is a linear, right? And then I've got f of x right here, which is not linear, right? Okay, so let's evaluate. Let's do the g of negative 2. So that means when x is equal to negative 2, I'm going to come to when x is equal to negative 2, and I'm going to go to the g function, which is that straight line. So when x is negative 2, it looks to me like that is a scale of 1, I think. Yeah, it is. I just can't read. It's so blurry on mine. So when x is negative 2, g is 1, g of negative 2 is 1, and there's your answer. Okay, try B and try C. Pause it and go. Pause it and go. Okay, hopefully when you unpaused, you got these. You got negative 2, you got negative 3, and you can see the work that I did. I was just taking my time to make sure that everything was perfect there for you. Does that make sense? So I got the f of negative 3. I got the g of 0, right? I plug it in. So I put the 2/3 multiplied by 3 is 1. Negative 2 multiplied by 4 is negative 4. 1 minus 4 is 3. And on to the next. Okay, so we did table, we did graph. Now we're going to do algebraically. So again, I'm not going to do every single one of these. This is what I'm going to do for this back page. I'm only going to do a couple from this top part, and then I'm going to probably spend some time on this lower one. But I'm going to do just a couple from this top part, and I'm going to expect you to do the rest. Okay? So, or to finish them. So, and I'm actually going to mark that so that I know I got to check that when you come in. Okay. So, looking at this first one, it says given the function f of x equals negative 2x squared plus x plus 5, evaluate the following algebraically. So we literally replace, when it says f of 3, for a, you literally replace all of the x's with 3. Okay? And you did math. So the f of 3, you don't do anything, right? You're doing the math over here. Plugging it all into your calculator at once, and you're going to pop out negative 10. Now, B, C, and D are different because they're not a numeric value going in for x. They're variable, or in B's case, it's a binomial. So f of x plus 4, I'm going to help you set it up, and then I'm going to let you do it. So f of x plus 4 means I replace every x with an x plus 4. All right, now I want you to evaluate this. I'm going to give you a clue right here. You need to multiply x plus 4 times x plus 4, and then distribute a negative 2, and then combine like terms. So you're going to have f of x plus 4 equals something at the end here. All right, that's what I'm going to be looking for. And That's why I marked it down. I expect to see all that done when you come in. All right, so how about C and D? Well, I do want to do C with you. So when I look at C, that means I put a negative x in. For all of the x's. And now you got to really take your time on this one and do the math, okay? So I'm going to look at the exponents first. And negative x squared, I don't create an area model because it's not a binomial. It literally means negative x squared means negative x times negative x, which is positive x squared. And then I've got a positive, distribute like, or think of it to that negative, it would be a negative x plus 5. So that creates a whole different function there, doesn't it? Negative 2x squared minus x plus 5. And that's it. You can't do anything more with it. That's your evaluate. C and D are important because it's going to come into play when we do something coming up in another lesson. So let me actually kind of run through D with you too. And I won't finish it, but what this means is that you don't actually change any of the x's, but I'm going to distribute, see there's a minus here, right? I'm going to distribute a negative through the whole function. So it means basically take f of x and plop it there. Put it in front of another negative, and then you're going to distribute that. And we all know, because I have been harping on it, when you have a negative in front of a set of parentheses and you distribute it, it just changes all the signs. Okay? So I did those three for you. I did A, C, and D. I expect to see B, okay? I expect to see B when you come back. All right. This one. It says define f of x equals x plus 2 and g of x is equal to x squared plus 5x plus 6. Evaluate the following. Okay, so I'm probably going to pick and choose from here a little bit too. I'm going to let you do this so that we're not wasting all our time on video and that you can actually try some without me. So if it says f of x minus g of x, you're literally going to take the f of x function in parentheses and you're going to say, I'm going to take f of x minus that g of x function. And you're going to distribute the negative, okay? It's a really messy 6. Distribute the negative. So I got x plus 2, all signs change, I keep saying that. And then combine like terms. And write it in standard form. We still like that standard form. So I've got the degree is 2, which means that's the highest exponent goes first. And then I've got the x's, so I got 1 minus 1x minus 5x is negative 4x. And I got negative 6 and 2, so 2 minus 6 is negative 4. Okay, doing pretty good. All right, so B, you got to multiply. Take the f of x, multiply by the g of x. You're going to have to do an area model here. Okay, you're going to finish that one. And then D, C and D. C, you're dividing them. Okay, that is probably one that I know for sure. I'm going to have you set it up, and then we're going to talk more about that one in class. And then D, you're going to put x minus 1 into the f function, just like how we did this B up here, right? You're going to put, instead of this one was an x plus 4, this one's an x minus 1, plug it into the function and do the math, and then multiply that total answer by 2. Okay? So I'm expecting to see this. And E, you can try this one. I will give you a warning. You're going to have to factor. So, well, let me set it up. It'd feel better if we set it up. So I got f of x, and that is x plus 2. And it says to add the f of x and the g of x, which is x squared plus 5x plus 6, and equal it to -1. So that's combining like terms to start with. So I've got x squared plus 6x plus 8 equals -1. And because it's an equation, and this time they're asking you to solve, like these were expressions, right? This is an equation. They're saying take those two and make them equal to a -1 and then solve for x. So you're going to set it equal to 0 by adding that 1 to the other side, and then you're going to factor. Okay, friends, that's it. I'm going to stop us today. I will be checking to make sure that you filled in the rest of these notes, that you've tried them, and I will be checking the homework for this, okay? So please make sure that you're working on this and staying up on track, okay? All right, take care. See you in the next video. Bye.